The Count of Monte Cristo, written by Alexandre Dumas and published in 1844, is the greatest revenge story ever told. It follows Edmond Dantes, a young, honest, and happy sailor in Marseille who has everything a man could want: a promotion to captain, a loving father, and a beautiful fiancée named Mercedes. He is 19 years old, generous, trusting, and completely unaware that three men in his life are about to destroy him out of jealousy, ambition, and cowardice. Fernand Mondego, a fisherman who is secretly in love with Mercedes, conspires with Danglars, the ship's envious accountant, to frame Dantes as a Bonapartist traitor by writing a false letter to the authorities. Dantes is arrested on his wedding day and brought before Villefort, a young prosecutor who initially believes Dantes is innocent. But the incriminating letter mentions Villefort's own father as a Bonapartist conspirator, and to protect his political career, Villefort buries the evidence of Dantes' innocence and has him secretly imprisoned in the Château d'If, a fortress on a rocky island off the coast of Marseille. Dantes is thrown into a dark cell without trial, without explanation, and without hope. For 6 years, Dantes exists in total darkness and isolation, slowly going mad with despair. He stops eating and prepares to die. Then he hears a scratching sound in the wall. An old priest named Abbe Faria has been digging a tunnel for years, trying to escape, and has accidentally broken through into Dantes' cell. Faria becomes Dantes' teacher, spending the next 8 years educating him in languages, science, history, mathematics, and philosophy. He transforms an uneducated sailor into one of the most learned men in Europe. Before he dies, Faria reveals a secret: the location of an enormous treasure hidden on the island of Monte Cristo by the Spada family centuries earlier. After 14 years of imprisonment, Dantes escapes by taking the place of Faria's corpse in a burial sack. He is thrown into the sea, cuts himself free, and is rescued by a smuggling ship. He makes his way to the island of Monte Cristo and finds the treasure, a cavern filled with gold, jewels, and precious artifacts of incalculable value. In a single moment, the penniless prisoner becomes one of the richest men in the world. He reinvents himself as the Count of Monte Cristo, a mysterious, sophisticated, and impossibly wealthy nobleman, and returns to Paris to destroy the three men who stole his life. The Count's revenge is not swift or violent. It is surgical, patient, and devastating. He spends years infiltrating Parisian society, befriending his enemies, learning their secrets, and setting elaborate traps. Fernand, who married Mercedes after Dantes' imprisonment, has become a wealthy count himself through betrayal and slave trading. The Count exposes his crimes publicly, and Fernand's wife and son abandon him in disgust. He shoots himself. Danglars, now a powerful banker, is financially ruined by the Count's manipulations and left penniless and starving. Villefort, now the most powerful prosecutor in France, is destroyed when the Count reveals that Villefort's wife has been poisoning family members, and that Villefort himself buried an illegitimate child alive years ago. Villefort goes insane. But the novel's deepest question is whether revenge brings satisfaction or only more suffering. As the Count watches his enemies fall, he begins to realize that his vengeance has also harmed innocent people. Villefort's young son is accidentally poisoned by his own mother. Mercedes, who has suffered for decades with a husband she never loved, recognizes Dantes behind his disguise and begs him to show mercy. The Count's young protégé Maximilien Morel nearly loses the woman he loves because of the Count's schemes. Dumas forces both his hero and his reader to confront an uncomfortable truth: the line between justice and cruelty is thinner than we want to believe. In the end, the Count retreats from vengeance. He saves Maximilien's beloved from a false death, reunites the young lovers, and sails away from France with Haydée, a young Greek princess who has fallen in love with him. His final message to Maximilien contains the novel's moral: all human wisdom is contained in 2 words: wait and hope. Dantes, who entered prison as an innocent boy and emerged as an instrument of retribution, finally discovers that the treasure of Monte Cristo was never the gold. It was the wisdom to know when to stop, when to forgive, and when to let go. It remains, nearly 2 centuries after its publication, one of the most thrilling and profound novels ever written.